Welcome to another episode. Today, we're talking about the philosophy of egoism. Egoism. And we're going to look at how we can use this to master self interest for a better life. Now, it's probably one of the most provocative and misunderstood philosophies out there because of the name, essentially. It seems very selfish. But hold up for a second. It's not a license for selfishness or using and stepping on others to get ahead. Yes, it's about putting yourself first, but in a way that creates a richer, more balanced life for you and those around you. Imagine for a second how much more impactful you could be if you started living for you, your goals, your choices, your relationships were fueled by a commitment, a deep commitment to your own self interests. So, what is egoism in plain layman's terms? It's the idea that you should prioritize your own self interest in your decisions. Unlike psychological egoism, which claims people can't help but act selfishly, ethical egoism is a conscious choice to put yourself first in ways that align with your values and goals. Think of this real life example. Think of a parent who works hard to pursue their career. On the surface, it might seem selfish, focusing on their own ambitions, but their successes create financial stability and opportunities for their children, which ultimately benefits the family, the street they live on, and the city that they are currently based in. Now, altruism is prioritizing the needs of others over yours. If you're altruistic, it means that you want others to benefit before yourself. While it's noble in certain contexts, constantly sacrificing yourself leads to burnout, resentment, and mediocrity in essence. And what egoism is saying is actually take care of yourself first. You can't pour from an empty cup. This could be energy, money, time, and actually making sure that you have something to give comes from being, I don't want to use the word egotistical, but in respect of if you put yourself first in every heart of your decision, you'll then be able to actually help other people more. Now, it doesn't mean it's greed or narcissism. It actually encourages long-term thinking and mutual benefit. Egoism acknowledges that acting purely on short-term desires often harms you in the long run. Real self-interest considers what will serve you the best overall. For example, short-term self-interest, binge watching TV instead of preparing for an important presentation. Maybe long-term self-interest would instead be putting effort into your presentation, boosting career. The mutual benefit is that this egoism aligns with the interests of others. If you're a business owner, your business doesn't just benefit you, it creates jobs, it supports customers, it adds value to communities, it puts your employees' kids in through school, and then they can learn and grow and develop. It's better for your industry. It promotes healthy competition. So, how can we apply egoism in our everyday life? Pursue what you want to pursue. Stop living someone else's dream. We tend to see this a lot, don't we? We see people doing well when we're on our own train track and we want to jump ship to someone else's just because they might be doing better at a particular point in time. But actually, you need to understand what path you're on and stick with that. Don't sacrifice your potential. It might be that a teacher leaves to become a full-time author. And yes, it might be detrimental to the students, but actually they might impact more people across the world. Or maybe they do both. Maybe it's in relationships. If you are selfless, that can harm you. Maybe it's health and fitness. If you are very central or health is very central to your life, you'll actually live longer and you'll be able to go on runs and exercise with your kids. You'll do better in sport and it will build your reputation. You'll look better, in which case you'll be able to have better relationships and attract better looking people, in essence. Maybe it's time. Maybe you are spending too much time in other people's plans. They want to go out to eat, they want to go out for beers, and you have FOMO, fear of missing out. But actually, if you're more selfish about your time, you would see that your time is best used and best served to improve your life and your existence. You don't have an obligation to go to every event that someone invites you to. The ability to say no can be, in some respects, the most important superpower of all. So, what are some practical steps to implement the philosophy of egoism? Well, firstly, you need to create a personal vision. What does a fulfilling life look like to you? Career, relationships, health, personal goals, hobbies, interests. Maybe create a vision board. Maybe look at your goals. Then you have to identify the priorities within that. Which of those is most important to you short term? And I don't mean short term versus long term like earlier, but which has the most immediate need now? And where do you need to put your time? Essentially, it's a life audit and looking where things are, the balance sheet. What's our current asset? If your career and money is going really well, but your hobbies, interests, and relationships are lacking, maybe you need to take some time away from the career and I don't mean quit your job. I mean pull some time away from that and put it elsewhere. Or maybe it's the inverse. Maybe you've got a great social circle, but your earnings are shocking. As I said, practice saying no. Sometimes you have to say no. And if it's that your social circle is great, but you need time to develop and learn skills, now would be the time to be quote unquote the boring guy. But it's sometimes the boring guy who ends up being the fun guy long term. Focus on your long term self interest. What's going to benefit in you in the long run? Maybe taking a pay cut for a new job will give you the experience you need for longer term. Maybe you're doing things because of friends. You don't want to let them down, or you don't want to move jobs because you work with them and it's fun. Maybe you don't want to move away from your friends because you're going to miss them or they're going to miss you. But if it's holding you back, it's holding you back. Embrace feedback as well. You need to understand that people, when they feedback stuff, it can be for your best interest. And again, if egoism is the key, acting in your own best self interest, then feedback is good. No? It on the face of it, it seems unethical, doesn't it? But it's not really. It's not really. You can't, if you haven't got a pot to piss in, then something needs to change. Yes, it can be lonely. It can be lonely in the respect of if you're doing everything for the betterment of yourself and you're not giving up or sacrificing anything, that can lead to detriments, especially in relationships. But can it help you in other senses? Think about Elon Musk. He wants to do things. He wants to go to Mars. He wants to build a sustainable energy source. He wants to build electric cars. And actually it benefits society on the whole. Maybe Oprah Winfrey, she was very selfish in respect of she wanted to be on TV and have her own show, and that's brought um, to many people a show that they love and watch and enjoy. So to summarize, really, egoism is not about being selfish; it's about being strategic. Invest in yourself and create the best version of yourself, because actually that's going to be the best thing for you and everyone around you. That version can change how things operate for yourself and for others around you, as I've said. So just remember that just because you put yourself first, it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. And in fact, egoism suggests and infers that that's the best thing you can do. So in 2025, then, if this is when you're hearing it in 2024, think about what's going to benefit you the most. Your friends might not always be there. Your parents are going to pass on one day. Your employer doesn't really care about you for the most part. So what do you want? What's going to be the best thing for you? Because that's going to bring out the best version of you. It's going to make you happier. And when you are content internally and have inner joy, you're a better person. You think better, you create more, and you are a better person to be around. You're authentic. So, how can you start to focus on your own goals and ambitions more than you have in the past 12 months?